Today, we have another interview in action from the conferences that just happened down here in Miami and Orlando. My name is Bill Russell. I'm a former CIO for a 16-hospital system and creator of This Week Health, a set of channels dedicated to keeping health IT staff current and engaged. We want to thank our show sponsors who are investing in developing the next generation of health leaders: Gordian Dynamics, Quill Health, Tausight, Nuance, Canon Medical, and Current Health. Check them out at thisweekhealth.com/today. Here we go. All right, here we are from Vive 2022, and we have some special guests, Geoff Blanding with Optimum Health IT, and we have the one and only Russ Branzell. I'd love to ask you questions about the conference, but we're going to focus in on a really cool program that Chime and Optimum have partnered on. I'm going to start with you, Geoff. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the program and what its objectives are and what you're trying to do?
Absolutely. So we're going out, we're recruiting new entrants into the healthcare IT career. So generally folks who are, maybe 0 to 5 years out of a bachelor's degree. We've got about 20% who are coming through a master's degree. And we find really high aptitude people, talented people, high potential, don't have a long resume, but we think they're going to do great working with health systems, with health plans, with software companies in the healthcare IT space. And we bring them through a 3-month boot camp. And 6 weeks of that is in concert with Chime. So we've got a 6-week program that we put them through for digital health professionals, where they learn really the foundation of how healthcare delivery works in the United States and how technology supports that. And then we add on to that with a technical certification. So put them through an industry-wide recognized certification that could be like an Epic cert, it could be ServiceNow, Salesforce, project management, cybersecurity, these really in-demand technologies. And then at the end of that, they come out, they've got a really well-rounded skill set with the healthcare industry knowledge.
I'm laughing because as a CIO, I'm sitting here going, okay, can I just have the whole pipeline? Could you just feed them right into my
Exactly. Well, and we started the program really kind of like around the onset of COVID is when we were designing it. So prior to the talent environment and Russ has been talking about the war for talent for years now, but it's never been more acute than right now. So the timing has worked out really well for us, where you can't find these resources otherwise. So we're really kind of building them from scratch, and at the end of it, we place them with clients in a long-term contract to hire. So we're really helping them build that team of the future and bringing in these really talented people who they don't have a ton of experience, but they're really high potential and can build that team.
Win-win.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think the part, and I'm not saying you're underplaying it, but the part that I think is so valuable about this, many cases, these are not your traditional entry point people into the industry. We've got the tech equity program here where we're really talking about giving an equal and level playing field. You look at this group of students, I don't know how many cohorts we're into, a bunch, and even from the very beginning, they don't look like the traditional mix of people. And I mean, every makeup, every background, every ethnicity, every uniqueness of our society today, it is this really crazy eclectic group. But then what you also realize is these are people probably that wouldn't have got an easy chance into healthcare. Yeah. And I'm not saying this is easy by any means, but now you've got these brilliant people, and we've got the best and the brightest people teaching this. I mean, these are the rock stars of healthcare IT. In leadership positions, and usually within 1 day of teaching them during our program, one of them calls me and said, this person, I gotta hire them. This person, brilliant. I mean, they don't teach because they're looking to hire people, but they just said, these people are amazing. Yep. They're young people and they're absorbed into this program in such an amazing way.
So, are you looking for more applicants at this point, or?
Always, yeah, we love referrals.
How many applicants do you get a year?
So last year we got 10,000. And we hired 100. And that's how it works. So we hire them as Optimum full-time employees, but their first 3 months, it's paid training basically. And we manage them that way too. So we're, that's kind of their performance is how do you do in training, and there are a few people who might not work out, and we kind of help them find a different career that might be better for them. But that's a great benefit to our clients, that we're vetting them, where they're getting all the benefits of that training, they're getting the professional skills that are going to help them be really productive on day one.
That ratio's worse than Harvard. I mean, 10,000 to 100. I wouldn't make it in, I'm sure.
Oh no, I've already said I'm glad this program wasn't around when I was there, because I wouldn't have stood a chance. That's for sure.
Wow, how do we get more in? I mean, when I think I've done probably about 15 CIO interviews, and top issue today? I mean, obviously we're coming through the pandemic, so the other issues are going. Cybersecurity is still number one, number two. Number one, number two is the battle for staffing and the clinical staff shortage. But we're talking specifically about the health IT staff shortage. I think as CIO, I'd like to see that be 500 people.
Absolutely, and we can scale it, and the arrangement we have with Chime is great. We can scale up to, I'm going to say unlimited cohorts, but we'll see. There probably is a limit. But
so, no, actually, we talked about this in the very beginning. This is, you build a vision, you build a direction, and a thought process. But I said we're not going to. We were building much of this material ahead of time already for other reasons.
Yeah.
So we're not going to structure this for 2 or 3 cohorts a year. It is time consuming. It's intensive. It's a lot of effort. We've got to build this where this thing is of scale. And we openly said, well, there's 52 weeks in a year. It takes about 6 weeks. We started doing the math. We said, this has got to be able to scale with holidays and a few breaks. This has got to be in that 30 cohorts a year. Then we start talking about some real numbers.
Yeah.
Here, if we're putting 30 to 40 to 50 through every cohort, we're talking about 30 a year. Now we're talking about kind of a pipeline. And that's what we did with our boot camp. If you remember, our boot camp could scale and move forward as well, where we could get people in that kind of program.
And I'd say the only thing holding us back from 500, 1,000 a year is demand, because there is it's a rethinking of how our clients are hiring and how they're sourcing people. So we meet with CIOs all the time who say, I need these people, and I've had a position open for 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. They have these vacancies because they have these kind of unachievable experience requirements, right? So it's instead of saying, hey, I need 10 years of Epic experience or ServiceNow experience or whatever, say, hey, let's get someone who's really smart and is going to be able to get there really fast. And then instead of having a vacancy for 8 months, 10 months, you can have someone today who in 8 months is going to have 8 months of experience and be really valuable to you.
Well, and you've been interviewing people. This shortage is not like normal shortage or even bad time shortage.
Yeah.
We've talked to people that have an 880 person staff and have 400 vacancies. 400 person staff with 120 vacancies and more. The attrition rate is just crazy right now. Even if this doesn't plug a big part of that hole, it's going to start plugging some of the holes.
Yeah.
And you scale this across all of our membership, which represents a vast majority of the hospital's big medical groups. If any of them are even close to that level of vacancy, we've got to do a lot more. And my hope is that these guys get really, really busy, and we can put people full-time on this, because we can't right now because of the scale we have.
So as we close this up, I want to talk about the specifics. Early on, you talked about they come out with potential certifications and those kind of things. Do you focus in on clinical informatics? You focus in on the technology track? Is there like a CTO track and a clinical informatics track? How do you?
Yeah, so we've got about 9 curriculums right now with specific technologies or really kind of occupational types of tracks. So we've got EHR, ERP, cybersecurity, project management. There's a bunch of them, and we're always trying to figure out also what's next. Like where are those gaps that we can help fill? Because a lot of these things, to add on to Russ's point, what we're seeing in the market right now, it's not just these resources are hard to find or they're expensive because there's scarce supply. They just don't exist in a lot of these areas. And so it's really an opportunity to build them from scratch. So it's kind of that buy versus build type thing, and we're there to help build those resources up in specific technologies and in specific areas. So the technologies are an important part of it, but I think a lot of the benefit of what we have, especially with the Chime partnership, is they have that technical certification, but they also have just as much the soft skills, because all along the 3-month program we're developing the professional skills and having executive presence, being able to lead a meeting, being able to take minutes, circulate effective emails, things like that they don't necessarily get in a bachelor's program, and then also all the industry context that they get from Russ's team and from the CIOs who teach those classes. So they come out with the technical certification, which is a little bit newer to them, but I think with those other 2 pieces, with the context and the soft skills, they're a really, really well-rounded package and can be really effective on day one.
And that's what I talked about with you. So the membership, Chime's membership is phenomenal, always giving back, always thinking about the next generation. When you talk about this curriculum, what do you go to like the community and just say, hey, we need some people, or do you have a
Well, we develop all of our own faculty, and meaning the faculty on ours have to go through a rigorous process. They have to get vetted. We put them in a faculty and training program. They have to get evaluated. It is not a simple process, especially now with our own licensed master's and doctorate programs. They actually have to go through a credentialing review process as well. And I jokingly say there's great CIOs, Chime members out there. There's also great instructors, but there's only a few great Chime digital leaders that are also great instructors.
And we've all had that in college too, right? We had
Exactly.
they were good professors and they could do research and that kind of stuff, and then we had communicators who we like gravitate towards, and they told stories, and we left and said that was a great class.
But at the part I want to add on to his curriculum part, and we were working on this a little bit before, which is why when I talked to the folks at Optimum and they said we're about to do this, and I said, whoa, you're not going to believe what we're working on. I think there's a great fit here. What we did was we went out to about 50 very senior leaders, and this was well before the Optum engagement on this, and said, if you hired a new person tomorrow, what is everything you'd want them to know about healthcare? And we got massive lists. But what was amazing was half the list was soft skills. Half of it was life skills. I mean, our CFO of Chime does a whole personal finance class for him on how do credit cards work, how do bank accounts work, how do loans work, how does debt work. And what we found from a lot of these students are no one's ever taught them these skills. As a matter of fact, they ask for more of it. Some of them get mentored. And then we've got this huge curriculum of 30 plus classes, plus 5 soft skill luncheons they do every week. They have to read a book every week. They have to do cases every week. I couldn't pass the class. I'm just telling you now. It's way too much work for me to go through all this. They get done at the end. They've basically taken what I jokingly say about a bachelor's worth of the core classes of what you would have needed. But they come out with it with 30 to 35 of the people you interview, top leaders in the industry as part of their network. Part of our gig on faculty is you cannot be in faculty if you're not there for those students for the rest of their career. So every one of them gives their personal information out, their personal email out to every one of those people. And I jokingly say these graduates have a better network than most of the people that work at Optimum IT and me. I mean, it's just crazy. These people are personal friends and they become mentors for them. I mean, Sarah Richardson almost adopts some of these kids and guides them later and helps them in their careers when they're in these places. Because they don't want to call Geoff and Larry and all the people at Optum when they go, I'm not really sure what's happening at this place and I'm working here. They call the CIOs and say, help me. And they do. It's amazing.
It's an amazing, like I'm jealous of the opportunities these new hires are getting.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things that's happened in the career path journey is we had a call set up with John Kravitz at Geisinger. And I was ready to pitch him and convince him why Career Path was exactly what he needed for his talent challenges. I had my slide deck ready to go, and we get on, and John says, listen, Geoff, I've seen these 4 people in action. I taught them in class. I love them. I want to bring them onto my team. So what do we need to? Can you send me an SOW, a contract? Let's make this happen. I said, oh yes, we can,
Yes,
we can. And I was seeing him the other night, and he was raving about them. So it's really it's amazing, and it's really a great match between helping folks really get to that level where they can get their foot in the door that they might not have had the opportunity to, and exactly the challenges that folks are
Where
seeing.
can people get more information? Both sides. From I want to put my application in. Where do I go for that?
Yeah, so they can go to OptimumHIT.com, and there's both pathways. So if you're looking for a career in healthcare IT, we've got the candidate pathway, or to reach out to us. They can also email me, gblanding@OptimumHIT.com.
And if people are saying, hey, no one in healthcare right now is saying, hey, I've got some extra time, but they're saying, hey, I think I want to start doing this. I want to give back to this next generation. Is there somewhere on Chime that they go to?
Well, it's not as much as a resource as much as a process that's on there. So Tim Stedheimer now serves as the provost of Chime University, which is actually a real thing. It's not just a clever name. It's actually our whole brand and model and structure for that. Or myself. I mean, I give everybody in the world my cell phone. So if you want to be part of us, if you're part of our Chime membership, we now have a lot of professionals out in the industry. Some of our keynote speakers at our events come back and said, I want to teach at your university. And we're like, well, we'll see if you're good enough, kind of deal. It's part of the fun in that. But we're glad to help anytime and engage those folks.
Yeah, and it's only the highest quality people, because I've never taught in Chime.
Well, we've never seen you teach. That's the thing. There you go.
Yes.
How about that? I'm sure you would be great.
I actually did teach at a university for a while.
All right.
Jeff, thank you for your work.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having us,
it.
Bill.
And Russ, as always, fantastic to sit down with you.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
Another great interview. I want to thank everybody who spent time with us at the conferences. It is phenomenal that you shared your wisdom and your experience with the community, and it is greatly appreciated. We also want to thank our channel sponsors who are investing in our mission to develop the next generation of health leaders: Gordian Dynamics, Quill Health, Tausight, Nuance, Canon Medical, and Current Health. Check them out at thisweekhealth.com/today. Thanks for listening. That's all for now.